search.
Robin Li doesn't just answer to himself, but also to the Chinese government, which is widely known for censoring information it deems sensitive. I asked Li about how much influence the government has on Baidu search results today, as well as the recent controversy over the U.S. government's relationship with American technology companies, revealed by former national security contractor Edward Snowden. But first, we talked about two companies that remain blocked by the Chinese government: Facebook and Twitter. Li told me he hopes the government changes its mind someday, but that it's not something he can control.
I think Facebook is a great innovation. It made people's life easier, but that may not be the only way to do social.
So what should Facebook's long-term strategy in China be? You know, we know that Mark Zuckerberg wants to get back in.
Yeah, I hope they can get back soon too, but again, it's really a government thing.
Do you think Google will take another shot at China?
I don't know. It's really up to them. They are a very successful company. They have unlimited resource to do things that they like. They voluntarily give up on the Chinese market.
Speaking of that, voluntarily, Eric Schmidt has said that the deck in China has been rigged in your favor. He said, every once in a while, a gift is handed to you. We handed one to Robin. What do you say to that?
Even before they announced they were giving up on China, we had like 70% of the market. And Google came into China in 2005. At that time, I think their market share was around 30%. And by the end of 2009, when they were about to give up, their market share was in the teens. So they went there, they invested aggressively. They said China had, 5,000 years of history. We have a patience of 5,000 years. And the partial information is better than no information, right? Blah, blah, blah. But they lost money for 5 years. They ran out of patience, I guess.
So Chinese users have said sometimes they question your search results because they're censored by the government. How much influence does the government have on your search results today?
Like I said, we operate in China and we need to obey to the Chinese law. If the law says certain kind of things is illegal, then we take that out. The laws in China are just different from the laws in the U.S.
Do you ever feel a moral conflict when, content, anti-government content is censored?
Well, for me as an engineer, I try very hard to make all kinds of information accessible easily by the users.
What about for you as a person?
For me, yeah, I try very hard to make things easier to be found. But life is never perfect. There are things that you can control and there are things that you cannot control. So
there have been a lot of concerns, I think, around the world about tech companies sharing information with the government. You don't think that distrust of the Chinese government around the world could hold you back, could hold Baidu back, and hold other Chinese companies back?
We don't think that's a problem in the sense that most of the users in the addressable market, they don't care that much, right? They search for entertainment-oriented information. They search for, science, music, all kinds of things. I would say, based on our experience with the Chinese market, most people don't care that much about those kind of information. For those people who do care, they have choices. They have alternatives.
Does Baidu share information with the government about users?
The government has not demanded this kind of information. If they do, we'll see what the law says.
So what do you think about the US NSA, the National Security Agency, and the recent revelations that technology companies here, including Google, Yahoo, and Facebook, have been sharing information with the United States government?
Well, I'm not familiar with the U.S. market, but my attitude is, again, if the law requires the Googles and Facebooks to do things, they need to do. If the law does not require them, they have their own say.
You've heard of Edward Snowden, though, right?
Yes.
So I'm curious, how is Edward Snowden, who made all of these revelations, how is he perceived in China?